And it reminds me of that old quote from Plato, necessity is the mother of invention. And it felt to me like Bayern just kind of reworked their entire system without Kane up front. And yeah, Muller's obviously getting on in years and he probably struggles to finish 90 minutes, but I thought the first half he was everywhere. He was a perfect foil for Musiala, Sané and Olise to kind of run past him, make runs. His demands and his expectations and his standards are really second to none. And I thought even just that little moment there was so different from having Harry Kane up front, who's almost a bit of a wallflower when he's on the pitch. He's quiet, he's polite, never really shouts, he's always very cordial, and he's actually quite accommodating of the players around him to a fault, where in that Leverkusen game we saw him dropping deep. He was almost playing as a central midfielder at times, and then you could contrast that with Thomas Müller screaming at his teammates to make the runs that he needs to make with him up front. And even though I thought Frankfurt started quite well, Hugo Gitiki had a good shot in the first 5 or 10 minutes, Bayern just completely took control of this match and they completely constricted the life out of it. And I think that was down to the fact that they had a front line that were far more mobile, far harder to read. And you obviously saw guys like Musiala, Sané and Olise kind of really stepping up in Kane's absence. And, Müller just making space for them. That's his key job on the pitch. He exploits space. He pulls defenders out of place. And it felt like over and over and over again, Bayern had a kind of 4v3 situation on the edge of the Frankfurt box where there was always an extra man waiting for that layoff. And that's something we haven't really seen a lot of at Bayern Munich so far this season. So, I made a comment at full time saying this was the highest XG that Bayern have racked up in the Bundesliga this season. I know Harry Kane came on the second half of the second, halfway through the second half, shall I say. So he technically maybe contributed something to it. He obviously had a shot, at least one shot on target. But I don't think it's a coincidence that Bayern looked so good going up front without Harry Kane in that team. I know some people saying maybe also Kimmich missing out. I don't really count that as much because I didn't think he was particularly bad until leading up to his substitution. So I don't want to really include Kimmich in this, but it felt to me like, and I was very tempted to write a newsletter on this week, but then I thought if I write one more article complaining about Harry Kane, his agent and brother will be at my door eventually kicking it in saying, what's my problem? But it felt to me like watching that game, I was like, if I was Vincent Kompany or, the president or whoever else, Max Eberl, watching that in the stands, I'd be thinking, this is the system that we need next season. We need a player like Thomas Müller. I know that's easier said than done, but we need a kind of false nine kind of player like that who can get the best out of Sané, Musiala and Mike Olise, because I thought they just looked tremendous.